Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Astral Jewels platform. I hope you've had a great week. Now, today is the 30th of August, and we're at the end points of the month of August. And I'm about to go into what's going on for September astrologically. So, first of all, I just want to bring up the wheel for the 31st of August. So that's where we've basically ended the last planetary review. And so this is what's going on now as we speak. Now, you might want to enlarge your screens to see these wheels so you can read them properly. And, a lot of you out there probably have no idea what constellation symbols and planetary symbols are. So, Google it. That's all I can suggest. There's so much information that I can add to these wheels, but for many, it just makes it more complex and more confusing. So, but the way that I'm speaking about the planetary forces, I hope you're getting an idea of what astrology is really about and how the forces are affecting us, and how they make us do what we do and think what we think and feel what we feel. It's all to do with the vibrations of the planets and their effects on us and how we perceive them and how we react to them. And as the audience knows, most of the audience knows, I am a sidereal astrologer. I don't do tropical astrology. Tropical is mainstream, what you see in magazines and newspapers, etc. And sidereal is in line with the sky. So if you were to use the Stellarium app, which is free to the public and a massive app and very good to have on your phone if you want to do some stargazing, it's extremely helpful. You basically just open the app and you can put it up to where, point it towards the sky, and it'll tell you what the star or constellation is that you're looking at, which is brilliant, because anybody who knows about has done some stargazing knows how difficult it can be, because there's literally billions of stars up there. So you've got to, it's helpful to know what the constellations do look like. So I definitely recommend the free app Stellarium. Okay, so here's a look at what the end of August looks like. And we've got the Sun opposite Saturn at the moment. So Sun-Saturn opposition gives a lot of structure and direction towards doing things the right way. And you can imagine who's using that. Now, remember also that astrology, the forces have a positive and negative, and they can be used for good and evil, right? So it depends on how you use the forces as a means to ride the waves of the vibrations that are going on, how you react, your attitudes, very important. And you could go into the negative modes or you can use them in their high mode. Now, this goes also for politics, any games to do with, the elite deep state. They know how to use forces. They know what's going on, and they know how to use it to their advantage. All right. And that's the whole thing with astrology, is to use these forces to your advantage. So knowledge is power, and knowledge of these forces on your own individual chart is a really good piece of knowledge to have. So if you haven't had your natal chart done, get in touch. It's a brilliant tool to help you navigate your own individual life as you walk through life. Okay, the natal chart, I highly recommend to everyone if you haven't already had it done. And with the sidereal model, for those who don't know, there's a 23.4 degree difference between the two systems. So you may not be the constellation that you thought you were. And as I go into what's going on with Leo and Virgo at the moment, you might find that your constellation is not what you think it is. Okay, now I've done podcasts on that in the past, so you'll be able to find them on my website. Okay, so here we go. Just going through what's going on at the moment. So we've got Jupiter-Mars conjunction down here at approximately 7 o'clock on the wheel. And Mars is a massive force at the moment. It's currently angled to Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, and Chiron. So it's a big player. And when Jupiter is added to any planet, the force of it expands. So there's a lot of will, there's a lot of action going on. And you may not see too much of it happening the way you would like to see it, because unfortunately, mainstream media is not showing you everything that is actually going on in the background. And as many of the people out there, like-minded people to myself, know that you have to go digging for the correct news, and that's not easy at the moment, because there's a lot of lies and deception going on, a lot of delusion. So you really have to know the sources that you're looking at. Is it the truth? Is it not the truth? So there's a lot of that going on. We've got wonderful Uranus, which is a major player at the moment. It is squaring Mercury. Now, Uranus is a higher mode of Mercury. So you've got the mundane and this higher force of communication that's happening. Uranus is also angled to Venus and Neptune and Pluto. Now, it's angled to Neptune and Pluto. This is major. They're all what's known as trans-Saturnian planets. There's very much a global or universal influence that's happening here, a much higher influence that's going on that some people just might be missing. But the fact that Uranus is angled to both Neptune and Pluto is actually helping to change what is going on Mother Earth. And we know that there's a lot of difficulties at play. So I've mentioned Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto many times in previous planetary forces. So just be aware they're at play, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that as we get into the retrogrades, okay, later on in the talk. Venus is squaring Mars. We've got the male-female thing going on. Looking for balance. That's one way of looking at it, looking for a balance between your masculine and your feminine side. And, those that are following, a lot of the intel that's going on, it appears to be the women that are doing a lot more forceful, active work than the men are. The women seem to know more. They know what's going on more so than the men. But there is this push for trying to get balance between the two. So let's not say the women are better than the men. It doesn't work that way. It's not a good way of looking at things anyway, because we need to balance both forces. Venus-Uranus is really quite an interesting force. Those that have got that in their natal chart will be very familiar. It's, Uranus-Venus is not about butterflies and lovely flowers and, paisley clothes. It's all about breaking out of the square. They like different, they like eccentric, they like to, they like bright colors. It's not the normal Venus force that's all about, lovey-dovey, feminine things. So there's action in the Venus that's going on, and it's different. And it could actually be waking up a lot more women at the moment. So, anybody who was born with this chart and had a Venus, Uranus, angle, you will find that if it's a daughter in particular, will not conform to the normal, ways of the feminine. They will be really active, revolutionaries. You won't be able to tell those children what to do, right? They're likely to tell you what to do, right? They don't like to conform to molds. Definitely not. It's not what they're. It's not how they roll at all. So when that's happening on a global level, it's likely to be an awakening of the Venus principle, stepping outside of the models, the modes. All right, step outside of the square. Okay, so there's been a lot going on with communication, as we know, and that's going to continue more as we go into September. And so just bear that in mind. There's a lot to do with communication. That's been going on for quite a few months now. So, and it doesn't stop at the end of August. What else? We've got Chiron playing its part, and Chiron is all about the wound. And we've got the individual wound, and of course, you could say the woundedness of the earth, and how we humans have been treated, you could say, by elite forces, and the unfairness that is going on there. We are literally a suppressed race, and our freedoms are continually trying to be eroded by the powers that be. So this is Chiron also playing its role. It's currently in Pisces, and very soon it's going to go into the constellation of Aries, and so it's going to get more fiery, which is a really good thing. So your attitudes towards how you have been hard done by the powers that be, by governments, etc. You're going to get feelings that come to the fore where you start questioning things. What does not serve me, what no longer serves me, and what am I going to do about it? Because that's another thing. What are you going to do about it? Okay, now let's move to what's going on with the sun. So where the sun is, we've got currently at the moment, now remember I'm sidereal, so if you've got a shock that your birth date is wrong, this is why. So from the 17th of August to the 16th of September, the sun is in the constellation of Leo. So that's still happening now. All right, Leo, all about courage and joy, where you get your joy from, and courage and heartness. And the next, so now I spoke all about that in the last planetary review, so you can go back over that if you need to know more or want to know more. And what's coming for us is the sun going into Virgo, and that's from the 17th of September to the 17th of October. And this is in line with the sky. So if you've just found out your constellation is not what you thought it was, that's why. We're looking at the sky. We've been duped, guys. 23.4 degrees out. There's something obviously wrong with the world. We've been lied to. Now, looking at Virgo people, so Mercury rules Virgo, so we have the influence of the messenger of the gods here. And yes, Virgo people are good with words. They can actually be quite cutting with their words as well. Virgo is the ruler of the 6th house, which is the house of health, your health. It's also the house of your everyday life, your lifestyle and your work life. The day-to-day mundane experiences you have is 6th house stuff. So Virgos or Virgoans, however you want to say it, are also seen as perfectionists. The word Virgo is Latin for virgin. The reference here relates to a maiden and also purity. Purity. So as Virgo's influence refers to perfection, Virgo people can be very particular about how things are done. So they are often seen as, nitpickers by the less particular people around. They can be meticulous and very fussy. They want things done their way, not your way. So if you're married to a Virgo, now you know why they're like they are. Get used to it. Another piece of info, and there is confusion of thought as to whether, Jesus was born of a virgin birth. Blah, blah, blah. And also, there is inference that the birth of Jesus occurred in the sign of Virgo. So Christmas being 25th of December is so out of whack with his real date of birth. It doesn't fit. So Mary was not a virgin at all, as the reference suggests. It was because of the placement of Virgo that we get this inference, the virgin. A virgin birth, Virgo was up there and has influenced the birth of Jesus. And the church, of course, pushed the story of the Immaculate Conception and confused a lot of people. But there you go. A lot of churchgoers believe that astrology is absolutely nonsense, but it's in the Bible. Many references to astrology is in the Bible. So have a read, have a look, have a delve. And Virgo is to do with health. And interestingly, the current surge from JFK is to make America healthy again. So you probably find that Virgos are big on health and staying healthy, trying to be fit, eat the right thing, all that sort of thing. They might be really meticulous with what they eat, and they're going to pass that on to their family, of course, if they're the cooks in the family. So looking at your health, this is a big thing, and your work life. If you are an employee, it's all the people in your working environment that is affected by the sun in Virgo. If you've got the sun in Virgo, it's probably likely that you get on very well with your work colleagues and you actually like or get pleasure from normal mundane types of things. But you like things your way because you're, a little bit nitpicky. But it's okay. It's okay. That's the influence that you are under. Okay, so there's so much more that you can read about Virgo. Go online, check it out. Especially if you've now found out that you are not who you think you are and that you are actually a Virgo and you're not a Libra, right? Or if you thought you were a Virgo, but you're actually a Leo. So you want to check out your new signs. And, as I've said this, the constellation is just one piece of a huge astrological pie. And it's the planets more so, and this is experiential, right? It's the planets more so that have an effect on your life and what you do and why you do what you do, which is why I call this a planetary review. I don't do, I'm not heavily into the constellation side of things. I do include them in my readings, of course. But for me, it's not the dominant factor. Okay, it's more the planetary forces. Okay, so happy birthday, people born between the 17th of September to the 17th of October. I hope you have a great solar return. That's what I call birthdays, is solar return, when the sun comes back around to the date or the time that you were born. Okay, so let's get into this month. And This is not going to look much different to the 31st of August, the last wheel that we saw. So I'm just going to go through a few things here. So we've got Mars and Jupiter conjunction, but Mars is going to pull away from Jupiter on the 3rd of September, so not far away. So this is going to have an impact on the magnitude of force needed, right? I think a lot of the hard work has been done. It's done in the background, and things are not going to appear so active as what they were, because Jupiter is going to, or Mars is splitting from Jupiter more so, because Mars is much faster than the Jupiter planet. Now, Jupiter, interestingly, is going to square the Sun on the 8th of September. And Jupiter is also trine to Venus. So this combination of forces is very positive and will give a sense of expansion and buoyancy. You know, possible, you know, sense of relief. If you've been doing it tough lately, this might be like, oh, thank God it's not as intense as what it was, you know, because Jupiter will bring, you know, its joviality is one of the forces that come with Jupiter. So you might you know, organize a party or a gathering, a social gathering, and get together with like-minded people and, you know, just talk about what you've just been through and go, hey guys, let's drink to our survival. You know, as we know, the planets have been intense for over 6 months. It's been full on, and a lot of people are struggling because of it. So also we've got the Neptune force. It is conjunct the North Node in Pisces, and it's opposite, what is it? It's opposite, is that Venus? It's opposite Venus. Now, watch out for deception and lies, especially with the Neptune opposite Venus, and also Neptune is squaring Mars. So that can give a deep push. Remember, positives and negatives. On a higher mode, it's a big push towards doing spiritual practices. Neptune is often about, well, that's its positive force, is the spiritual side of Neptune. You know, it's all about angelic realms and ETs, if you want to call it. I call them presences. So, you know, off-world positive presences have to do with Neptune. And when Neptune is connected to Mars, you've got a force of will that goes towards the Neptune. So you could be in spaces of a lot of daydreaming, a lot of wanting for idealism, which can also be delusional, right? So you daydream of something that you want to happen, but that's not really what's going on. So you have to watch out for this. So it's very real at the moment. So, you know, not knowing what the truth is, or who to believe, who not to believe. And clickbait is ramping up, which just adds to the confusion, it adds to the deception, and it's really annoying. It's really, really annoying. So just be aware of that. So that's the Neptune force. And Neptune is in Pisces. It strengthens it. It's currently opposite Venus. And so there is a real wanting, a real desire to go into the daydreams. If you're going to do that, take it on positive mode and see if you can follow through with what it is that you desire. So it's actually a good time for manifesting. It is, if you have the faith that goes with it, have a go at manifesting, because the forces are there for you. May the force be with you as you manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. moving forward. There's not a huge amount of changes in the constellations, except for, the planets, right? Except for the moon. And I'm not going to cover too much on the moon as they are angled to the planets. For one, we're not even sure how effective the moon is. There's so much talk about a fake moon. It's not funny. So I'm allowing that into the equation, but often adding the moon to things can also add to a lot of confusion. And I'd prefer to stick to a lot of the major forces that are going on. And so speaking of, so we're going into the 17th of September. I've moved forward here. However, I'm going to go back and forth here. So the sun in Virgo is in Virgo on the 17th of September. It's trining Uranus and squares Jupiter. It's opposite Saturn. Mars is in Gemini and it's angled to Mercury. That's the communicator, big one. Mercury then is in Leo, opposite Saturn. So when some planets go into the constellation of Leo, you can feel a big push. Leo the lion, right? Courage, forthrightness, you know, the leader. The sun, it's where the sun shines, right? So there can be dominant experiences that happen when you've got a planet going into the constellation of Leo. And so with Mercury here, communication. Opposite Saturn gives structure to whatever is being communicated. We've got Jupiter squaring Saturn, trine the sun. So Jupiter gets its buoyancy again from the sun. We've got Venus opposite Chiron, and it's trine Jupiter. So Chiron's starting to come more into play. And, you know, again, there's this woundedness with the woman, the feminine, but the Chiron force can push that forward so that women step forward. So don't underestimate the power of Chiron. Watch what happens in the space to do with women. And Venus is trining Jupiter, which is a wonderful force. Again, buoyancy. It's a bit like, you know, just think of women going shopping and buying shoes. That's Venus, Jupiter. It's like, you know, doing things that you want to do that make you feel good. Going out for coffee is often a Venus, Jupiter type of thing. Doing things that you really love to do and you want to do. Okay. But buying shoes, that's probably the big one for the women with the Venus, Jupiter. Watch the credit card debts after that though. Okay. So the sun becomes trine with Uranus on the 12th of September, and it stays trine. Sun stays with Uranus until the 28th of September. So it's a pretty long stint here. Mercury joins this combination around the 23rd of September. So remember, we've got the communicator, Mercury and Uranus. Well, affected by the sun. Expect more major communication during this time. You know, the sun is illuminating the Uranus force, and the combination is usually very striking, very direct. It's really sharp. So you have Uranus as the higher mode of Mercury, and Mercury, the ruler of Virgo. Expect a lot of communication. So it's already started. We know that there's more communication coming out. There's more secrets being revealed. So it's ramping up. There is going to be more and more. And Uranus Sun, it's hot. It's a really hot force. You know, nothing to be afraid of really with the Uranus Sun. It's just directed energy, and it's sharp, it's striking. So just watch what happens. Again, watch for lies and deception. You know, this will, it'll increase as a countermeasure. You know, it always does. There's always a mirror. So we know that clickbait is just off the charts at the moment. So they're trying to fool us. They're trying to keep us in the lies and deception and the delusion of what's going on, so we don't figure it out. They're trying to make us not figure it out, but we are figuring it out. It's happening. But just watch out for deception. You know, by the end of the year, if you've really been following what's going on, you're going to be very, very good at picking up what is a lie and what's not. And God help those who are intentionally deceiving us. Watch out for you. Okay, so Uranus has to do with electricity. So, you know, Uranus sun, it's going to get more illuminated. So I'm wondering what will happen in terms of the electric car industry. That's one thing to look at. And as you will be aware, many people are not happy with their electric vehicles. And the infrastructure to run them is also not available. And word on the street is that it will not be there in the near future. So, you know, have buyers spent their hard-earned cash on a technology that is not up to speed? Well, we know it's not up to speed. So don't even know why I made that statement. I mean, you know, you guys, you know, it's just not, the infrastructure's not there. It's just not there. You know, another problem, you know, for car sales businessmen, there's going to be a problem here because they've stockpiled electric cars to sell, and as it's turned out, people don't want them now. They're not reliable. So they will be going cheap by the sounds, but even a cheap electric car is useless without the infrastructure to run them. So I'm just going to say, buyer beware. Really do your homework. Don't be fooled by all the solar panels that are going up, because there's a delusion that everything's going solar, and it's not. The infrastructure's not, we're not ready for it. We don't have enough technology to make it worth it. So, you know, in Australia, the government has just approved a massive multi-billion-dollar solar farm in the Northern Territory. I mean, it is said that the farm will serve the city of Darwin. Great. However, go Australia, most of the power will be exported to Singapore. Thank you, government. Thank you, government. You know, I personally believe that solar power is a technology that is sadly lacking and will leave a massive blot on our landscape in terms of wasted, expired, non-environmentally friendly solar panels. You know, this is just like the wind farms. After 9 years, those blades are useless. How environmentally friendly is that? It's not. It's not. You know, and additionally, there is massive amounts of prime agricultural farmland being used. They're now becoming solar farms. That's insane. That is insane. You know, I'm concerned about the thousands, because this is another facet of it. Thousands of new immigrants who will, you know, now most likely be working in the desert heat, to build solar farms, or this great big massive solar farm in the Northern Territory. Makes me wonder whether that is why Australia has allowed this mass importation of immigrants who don't have jobs and don't have houses to live in, and the rental market has absolutely skyrocketed. Things have just gone absolutely crazy. But, you know, immigrants will do the work because they do, because they need the money and they want to start a new life for their families. Don't blame them one bit. But I bet you they are the ones that end up in the desert building these solar farms. And it won't be fun at all. It's bloody hard work. It's very, very hot. In fact, I hope that this never gets off the ground, seriously. But we'll wait and see. Australian government, I have very, very, very little respect for you for many reasons. Okay, now, getting out of politics, very hard to at the moment. Now, to do with health. Also with the sun in Virgo, in the sign related to health, watch out for more truths being revealed to do with the health system. Apparently, you know, even the FDA is being caught out for more cover-ups that they've been doing. Watch out for, and don't forget, JFK is a big advocate for health. And he's now aligned with President Trump. And if Trump gets in, RFK is going to do absolutely amazing work in terms of health. I think it's a game changer, and I think it was a very, very good chess move that they actually got together. You've got a Democrat now with a Republican. And, you know, those that are really into humanitarian work, we know it's not about Republicans or Democrats. It goes way beyond that. So forget about taking sides. It's not about taking sides. It's way, way bigger than that. And this, again, is the big humanitarian push by Uranus. And the transformation is going to come from Pluto. Pluto-Uranus major. Pluto-Uranus Neptune. Keep speaking about those. They're in the background and they're doing major, major things. Now, also watch out for power outages, because Uranus, electricity, and AI, and all things computers. Back up your data. Watch out for delays in things like the travel industry if technology goes haywire. Just be prepared for maybe long-term outages, which are really, really, really inconvenient, as we know. But you need to be prepared, because we had a major blackout recently. And yeah, I think it shocked a lot of people. It was major, especially people that have gone smart, realizing that your fridge doesn't work because of these AI issues. I mean, that's disturbing. What are we plugged into that we shouldn't be plugged into, that your fridge goes off? Smart is not smart. So get smart about that. Now, don't forget Uranus is about freedom, humanitarianism, and revolutions. So you can bet there will be a huge surge in pushing for our human rights and freedoms. Right? This is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Uranus is a player, and it's going to be influencing us for a long time. Okay? Beyond this year. Keep going. Now, interestingly, you know, speaking about freedoms and humanitarianism, you know, Pavel Durov was recently arrested in France. Now, he's the founder of Telegram, and he's an advocate for free speech. And now we hear that the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, has suspended its contract for the acquisition of fighter jets from France. So, as you know, Durov has UAE citizenship. Good move. So Macron may want to think his last chess move wasn't a good one. You've just lost a major contract there. And if you've got something against the freedom of speech on Telegram, just remember that Instagram and Facebook have child porn on their sites. So somebody had a go at me because I mentioned that, Telegram, I mentioned a few things about Telegram, and they were saying, oh, there's porn on that site. Well, hello, it's everywhere. It's on Instagram and Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg was influenced strongly by Biden and has actually censored content on Facebook that favors the Biden administration's narrative. So perhaps social media as a whole is going to be cleaned up and cleaned out. So just watch out for what goes on social media. If you're overly reliant on, that fills your day, social media, you may want to start remembering what it's like to go out and have coffee with a friend and picnics in the park, one-on-one contact, because social media is likely to get a big overhaul. I sort of hope it does. We've got to get back to some basics here. Humanitarianism. What are we doing here if all you're doing is sitting in front of your computer? It's great. It's absolutely great to be talking to people from all overseas countries. That's absolutely fabulous. But we've lost balance. We've lost a balance with this, and we're losing our social abilities to be one-on-one with people. I rarely use my phone anymore. I've totally detoxed from the phone. I could say totally because I have to remember to turn it off. I turn it on, every 5 days or so to see if there's any messages on it. I don't rely on the phone, and I don't really want to. When you see what it's been doing to people, I think it's sad. It's sad to see how children are ignored because parents are on the phone. They're scrolling and texting and doing whatever on their phone. And you go out for dinner with friends, and half of them are checking their messages. And we never used to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do it. Anyway, that's the thing. Stop complaining, Jules. Stop complaining. Okay, just saying, you want to look at it. You want to look at it. It's very unhumanitarian, put it that way. Got to socialize. Okay, so 30th of September. So we've got Mercury. Mercury is in that conjunction of the Sun and the South Node, and it's opposite Neptune and the North Node. North Node, axis of destiny. South Node, where we've been. It's the past. Where we're going is the North Node. And the Sun opposite Neptune is a beautiful force. It's a great time to be doing meditation, anything to do with your inner spiritual work. And also if you want to, go inside and, just be with yourself and call on high spiritual beings for help if that's what you are wanting to do. Who doesn't want to do that? The feelings of high spiritual beings are absolutely beautiful. And when you've got the Sun associated with Neptune, beautiful forces, beautiful high spiritual forces are at play. So we've got Mercury in on the act there. That's interesting. Could read that in several ways. You know, being able to communicate with ETs, for example, ETs or presences or off-world presences. That is all possible. Also, though, however, watch out for the Mercury Neptune, communication and delusion. So are you being fed a pack of lies? Always be discerning. Just watch out for the clickbait. It's good to be skeptical at this time. It really, really is. You find the truth. It's up to you to find out what the truth is. Don't rely on anybody else's hearsay. That got us into a lot of trouble. Lots and lots of trouble. Believing the supposed powers that be. No, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Okay. Now we've got the new moon is going to happen on the 3rd of September, and the new moon is in Leo. So use this phase to test your courage. You know, find your heart, your heartness. What does this mean to you? What does heartness mean to you? And do you struggle with your courage? Do you struggle stepping forward, stepping up, stepping into something that you want to do, but you fear it? Now, the new moon, new beginnings. So you can make this a cycle. So for the whole month, you can put your focus on, you know what, I'm going to do it. Courage. I'm going to make things happen. So that's the time from the 3rd of September. Then we've got the 18th of September is the full moon, and it's in Pisces. Now, just remember, delusion in high measure. I've said that so many times that I hope I'm not convincing you that you are being deluded. But as I've said, it's either delusion or the presence of high spiritual beings. Now, some people will say, well, that's delusional, the fact that you see them and you hear them and you feel them. Well, no, that's not delusional. If you feel them, you feel them. If somebody else doesn't feel them, that's their problem. You're not being delusional, all right? Watch out for emotions. Emotions may run high at this time. So it's a good time to be with yourself and meditate. Do a bit of just involute, just some inner work. Not a bad thing to do. Okay. And lastly, we've got the retrogrades. So Mercury is now moving forward, which many people will be grateful to see. So that finished on the 28th of August. However, we now have 5 planets in retrograde motion: Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. So all these retrograde planets will influence you to review some of your past decisions, and perhaps what you thought was finalized still needs some adjustments. So retrogrades will push you to internalize your consciousness, which is not a bad thing at all. So, and this can be intense for some, and for others, it's just not a problem. You know, internalizing, you can't help but be with yourself and feel the things that you've been ignoring. And often what you might have been ignoring are emotional issues, emotional blocks. Now, it's not a bad thing. What you need to do is deal with them as they happen. So internalizing consciousness is a big thing. That's, you know, you've got the time to do from here to the end of the year. Like, go for it. Go for it. Now, globally, these retrogrades will make for thorough exposure of changes that are necessary. Now, that's internal and external. So internal, personally, and globally. So regardless of having a sense of disbelief or even delusion about what is happening, The retrogrades will assist you to get to the truth of the matter by delving into facts more easily. Your mind will not be as dismissive or blasé about what you are reading or hearing. You know, your mind will want to know. You will want to know factually what is going on. And retrogrades have a tendency to slow you down and to make you more focused, which is great. So, you know, make use of those retrogrades. Whoa, you know, Uranus is retrograde all the way through to January. So, ooh, intense. Okay, that's it for the planetary review for September. That was longer than I intended. There's so much to say about what is going on. You know, make things personal as far as things affect you, and then see things globally. I'm a big advocate for that if you keep your consciousness out in the global arena, you're not taking notice of what's going on with yourself. And you only have control of yourself and your attitudes and your perceptions and your reactions. So that's really important. This internalizing is really necessary. So there you go, guys. So I hope September is okay for you. Hope you can ride the waves. There's some good things in there, but change is happening and there is going to be more communication. So just watch for that coming out. Keep your ears open, keep your minds open. Lateral thinking, conscious awareness. It's the bomb. You've got to go there. It's really, really important. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've got something from it. Please share, thumbs up, put a comment below. And yeah, I really appreciate your support. Without your support, I wouldn't be doing this, okay? If you want to make inquiries about astrology readings or healing sessions, please visit my website, astraljules.com, okay? So we'll leave it here and I'll see you again. Bye for now. Bye.